soup, which is also known as hủ tiếu or hủ tiếu Nam Vang. This is another popular dish beside phở. You can eat this with wonton noodles, tapioca noodles, or regular rice noodle. The condiments to eat along with this can consist of poultry and seafood. So let's begin. And here are the ingredients for the broth. Sweetened radish, grilled dry squid, radish, which is fresh radish, onions, and a lot of shallots and scallions. And a lot of pork bones, which is pork shoulder bones and pork bone marrows. Make sure you parboil the bones first before you put them to original pots to simmer as the soup. So bring about more than a gallon of water to a boil, place in the cooked meat, and then bring it back to a full boil. Skim away the scum until the water is clear, and then you lower down the heat and simmer. While the broth is simmering, we're going to get the rest of the ingredients ready, which is first we're going to start by peeling the radish and then cut them in about 1 to 1.5 inch length, and then cut them in half again and set it aside for later. The radish is going to bring a lot of sweetness to the broth. With the shrimp, make sure you clean and devein them. Pork shoulder or pork belly, and then frozen fish ball, and then fresh liver, which is soaked in cold water before you cook them. And today we're going to be using three different kind of noodles: wonton noodles, rice noodle, and tapioca noodles. Cook all the noodles according to the instruction. So back into the soup pot, we're going to put in the pork shoulder, the onions, and all the radish. So make sure you simmer this soup in medium-low heat. Okay, so next we're going to add in the dry grilled squid. Now with this big pot of soup, I only use 2 because you don't want to use too much. It's over flavor the soup with a strong odor of squid, so you don't want too much of it either. Place in about 2 to 3 tablespoons of sweetened radish. And this is going to add more sweetness to the soup also, besides the fresh radish. And this is optional, but I recommend this is grill or toast shallots to be put in the pots to bring more flavor to the soup. And now you're going to cover the lid slightly open and simmer. So here I have about 1 pound of pork belly, thinly sliced and skinned. And then to it, I'm going to add in the sliced shallots, about 2 of them. This is going to be going to the soup later too. So make sure you thinly slice the shallots and then incorporate the shallots and the pork belly together and mince them until they become combined or become like, just mince them until they well combined and grounded. Or if you prefer, you can use ground pork, it's easier. Or you can put this in a food blender or a food processor and ground them up. So after you finish mincing this pork belly meat, you're going to place them in a bowl, and then you're going to start to season it with ground black peppers. Here I have about 2 teaspoons. And then I'm going to add in about 1 tablespoon of fish sauce. With that, I'm going to add in a little bit of MSG or chicken powder if you're using. And just a little bit of sugar. And into this, I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of tapioca starch. And last but not least, I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of cold water. Now you're going to combine everything together. Okay, mix them well. And then set them aside. And so later I'm going to show you how to put this into back into the soup pot. Now we're going to go back to the pots and make sure you remove the pork shoulder or the pork belly if you're using. We only cook this for 30 to 40 minutes. Remember to bring it out and soak it in cold water. You're just going to soak until the meat cool down a little bit. This method prevents the meat from darkening. Okay, so now we're going cook the shrimp. Bring a pot of water to boil. When it boils, just add in the shrimp and cook until the shrimp turn pink. Remove right away and soak in cold water. Set aside, and then when it's fully drained, you're just gonna peel it and then set it aside on a plate. Now we're gonna cook the liver. Add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of vinegar to cold water. Bring it to a boil and then place in the liver and cook until the liver is fully cooked. When it's fully cooked, you're just gonna remove the liver and then soak in cold water. This prevents the liver from turning dark. With scallions, we're gonna cut the white portion into 1 to 2 inch length. This is gonna be going to the soup pot later at the end. And with the remainder green portion, we're gonna thinly slice them, and we're gonna use this for garnishes. On with the Chinese chive. Make sure you wash them very thoroughly and then cut the end out and remove them, and cut the rest into about 1 to 2 inch length. And with the Chinese celery, you're just gonna cut them and soak in cold water. You can replace this with a regular celery stick. Here's all the condiments: vegetable, beans sprouts, Chinese celery, Chinese chive, thinly sliced scallion, and lemon wedges. Okay, now when the meat is already cool in cold water, we're gonna thinly slice them. My meat actually look pinkish, but it's just because of the light. Make sure your meat is fully cooked. Okay, just thinly slice them. You can cut it according to your own taste. If you like them thicker, just cut them in thicker pieces. It's fine. But if it's too big a piece for you, you can also cut them in half. See how nice and juicy it is? Just like that. Now my piece of meat is kind of big, so I'm gonna slice them in half, and then I'm gonna thinly slice the rest. And with the liver, we're going to use the same thing. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to thinly slice them and then set them aside. Now we're going to arrange all the condiments on a plate so it's easy for serving. And this is dry shallots. You can do it at home if you want to, or you can buy pre-made shallots. Back into the soup pot, we're going to season the soup pot with sugar, salt, and chicken powder. Now this is a good time to adjust your taste, and if it seems like it's not enough broth for you, you can always add in more chicken broth. I did add in about 2 quarts of more water into my soup pots. Now we're going to get the ground meat ready for the soup pots. Add in the oil into a clean pan and then place in the ground meat, and we're going to cook the ground meat thoroughly. Just separate them and just, keep cooking them until it's separated. Into this, we're going to add in the 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Now this is my secret ingredients for the soup pots. A lot of people don't use soy sauce in there, but if you try to add the soy sauce into the ground meat while during the process of stir frying, it adds more flavor to the broth. Okay, just gonna cook it for a minute or so and then turn off the heat. And then now you're gonna scoop 3/4 of the meat into a bowl and set aside for later serving. And then the rest you're gonna dump them in the soup pots. Add in the ground pepper to the ground meat and then set it aside for condiments later. Now pour the rest of the meat into the pots and make sure you get all the flavor out from the pan too. Just scoop some of the soup and pour into the pan, and then just, this way you can get all the flavor out. And pour the soup back into the pot. There you go. You don't want to waste all those flavor. Okay, into the pot, we're going to put in the white portion of the scallion and turn it down to the lowest heat possible and keep it simmer until you serve. To serve, like we have 3 choices of noodle, you're just going to re-blanch them in hot water for a few seconds to keep it hot. Okay? And if you want to, you can blanch your vegetable. Here I blanched my bean sprout. Well, you don't have to blanch your vegetable if you don't want to. You can just put it into the bowl and pour in the soup. So now I'm going to add in the ground meat, some dry shallots, and then the rest of the condiment, which is Chinese chives and celery, and then sprinkle on some scallions. And you're going to arrange the meat and the fish ball onto the bowl before you pour in the soup. So here you go. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.